Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Committee of the Whole meeting, particularly those joining us through our streaming service. And I think we also have Director Elms joining us as well through that service. I'd like to certainly take this opportunity to wish everyone a good, happy Easter this past weekend, and thank you for joining us. I call this meeting to order. First thing I'd look for is a motion to approve our agenda. Thank you, Councillor Pettin, seconded by Councillor Deering. For approval? All those in favor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Unanimous. And again, I'd look for a motion to adopt our minutes.
So moved.
Okay, Councillor Badcock, seconded by Councillor Bowering. Take a look at those. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. And page 5. I don't know if anyone had any errors or omissions to note. Okay. Ask for approval. Okay, so moved. Okay. We've got a proclamation here first. Dave, you want me to read that here in this one?
Aren't they more of a public meeting thing now?
I was kind of thinking the same,
Because
actually.
we got to make a motion to declare it, don't we?
Oh, I think we
Start?
wanted to put it on because we mentioned to them as well, and if we wait next week, we're halfway through volume.
Okay.
It doesn't start till the 19th. It don't matter, I'm just saying. I always thought it was a public meeting thing. You can go ahead and get over it, then we want to have it
Okay,
next week.
let's move on then. This one is a municipal proclamation request. The Community Sector Council Newfoundland and Labrador, along with local and national partners, are navigating the complexities of modern volunteerism. We're working towards building a volunteer action strategies for our province and our country to remove barriers to participation so that every individual feels empowered to contribute to building more connected communities. Now it is more important than ever to acknowledge the contributions of those participating in our towns and cities and to show our appreciation for their efforts. Whereas 24 million Canadians give their time through formal and informal types of volunteering, contributing close to 5 billion volunteer hours per year. And whereas over 210,000 individuals in Newfoundland and Labrador volunteer an average of 161 hours per year with 3,400 incorporated nonprofits and 3,000 plus informal community groups. And whereas volunteers in Bay Roberts give their time and talents to support families, friends, neighbors, and strangers, and whereas volunteers in Bay Roberts are individuals, families, workers, retirees, community members of all ages and backgrounds. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Bay Roberts recognizes the enormous contribution that volunteers and community organizations make to the social, cultural, and economic development of our province. And whereas Bay Roberts is a more desirable place to live because of the collective result of the work done by our volunteers. Now therefore, I, Deputy Mayor Neil Curley of Bay Roberts, do hereby proclaim April 19th to 25th, 2026 as National Volunteer Week, recognizing the 2026 theme, Igniting Volunteerism, and I urge my fellow citizens to recognize the crucial role played by volunteers in our community. As I look around the table here, I think I see people in very formal organizations as volunteers, and I think everybody at this table are involved in various forms of volunteers in our community. And that's just a small sample of everything I know from the different things that I'm involved with in Bay Roberts myself. In a previous career and continuing to do so. Don't know if anybody else wants to add something.
No, well said. 24, 24 million Canadians, I didn't realize it was just a lot of people volunteering their time, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Our first item of business, administration and finance. Dave, I'm gonna pass that over to you.
Deputy Mayor, Your Worship, this is approval for travel for our mayor to go to the MNL Municipal Symposium in Gander, May 7th to the 9th. The cost, estimated cost is $1,600, and we have funds that are budgeted in council training, 60,937,000. And so we'd ask that the motion, decision point, be done, and then we can forward the motion to public meeting.
We're just looking for a general consensus here. right?
Yep, and I'll just read out the decision point. Be it so resolved that approval be given for attendance of Mayor Seymour for travel to MNL Municipal Symposium in Gander, May 7th to the 9th, 2026. This meeting of representatives from the province and the largest municipalities will focus on economic development. Cost to attend is estimated at $1,600 per person, and the funds are available in the so-called account as listed.
Okay. Anybody want to make a
No motion.
comment?
No motion.
No, but make any comment?
I take it, I guess no one else was able to join
Nope.
Mayor Seymour on this particular one.
Nope, he was the only yay.
Yeah, I would have liked to, but May is a hard one for me.
We put in for two, didn't we, initially?
Yep,
We did.
and we're having trouble again with getting hotels in Gander, so.
Right, so maybe it's helpful with one representation for the town itself. Okay, it's not a contentious one?
No,
Okay. Moving to our planning, development, and protective services, I'm gonna turn it over to, could be Director Squires, or if one of the councilors working with that want to chime in, they can. Director Squires?
Butler Drive, do you wanna
Yeah,
give a?
yeah, so I can go ahead with that one, just go down through it. We issued two permits, which will be permit number 68 and 67, to 8 and 9 Butler Drive. Those were for two dwellings, but at the time of issuance, the permit, based with the survey, was outdated due to it not having actual legal frontage. So we will have to, I guess, revoke those permits and, I guess notify the owner that there's only legal land frontage off of Track Road.
I can read out the recommendation if you wish, and if anyone wants to discuss. Be it so resolved, council revoke the development permit issued for the property on Butler Drive, as the permit was issued in error based on an outdated survey and the absence of legal frontage to access Butler Drive. Further that, the applicant be advised in writing of the revocation with notification of right to appeal and information that any future development must be revised to access the property from Track Road or otherwise demonstrate legal frontage to access in accordance with the town development regulations.
Thank you, Councillor Badcock. I'll open it up to the table if anybody has any comment.
Was this permit given to him before he did the excavating work and everything up there, or was that after?
Some was done when the permit was issued.
Because he's done a lot of work up there.
Yeah.
And to access the track road, I don't think it's possible. You might have frontage, but it's probably a 50-foot bank.
Yeah, it's,
That's the other
I
thing.
think it is possible, but you probably wouldn't get two lots out of what's there, you may only get one.
Oh, okay.
And was the original application to have two lots?
Yes, and to access off of Butler Drive, well, again, due to the no actual road frontage. And I guess just to clarify, you wouldn't need a permit to do any land clearing or anything like that. So anyways,
Yeah, but if someone is planning on developing something and they get a permit, then they would do their land. They wouldn't have done it if they weren't getting the permits.
yeah, So there was some done before, so I guess that's always a recommendation of checking up on your permits and stuff before actually going ahead, because it was shortly after we actually found out about that issue. There wasn't a long gap in between the issue and the problem.
Well, I was gonna ask, it says the error was based on outdated survey information. So is that a survey that was provided to us by the applicant with the application?
Yes.
So is there a date that, you know, obviously, is there, like, should we put a, I don't know how to word it, should we put not a deadline, but a
Idea
expiry
of an
date
update, an up-to-date.
on surveys? Like, if you're submitting an application for a development, like, I think you need a fairly recent survey, especially if any other development happens in that area. So I mean, like, you know, the street I live on, it'd be hard to accept an application, I'm sure, from the 80s, because the street has changed a lot since the 80s. You know what I mean? So
That's a good point,
So-
councillor.
So that's something that will change now with our new development regulations, that'll probably be a specification in the actual regulations.
I mean, a survey has got to be done anyway. So
That was sort of the question I was going to ask, but I guess the follow-up, how do we become aware that the survey submitted wasn't accurate in terms of the frontage?
So I wouldn't necessarily say that it wasn't accurate,
Okay.
it's just the fact that it's outdated and that it didn't show Butler Drive fully on the survey.
Okay.
And some land surveys here in the town, even new ones, they come in and it just shows the square block land. It don't show what roads are around. Some, usually they show the neighbors and the roads. Some come in and it's just a piece of land. So then you kinda gotta decipher where it is. But again, that's usually,
So it probably goes to Councillor Franny's comment in terms of some form of a date or so many years of an up-to-date survey.
yeah. So I guess going forward in our new regulations, there will be a clause to provide proof of legal land frontage. So again, that would, whether it be an
That'll cover
updated
that.
survey or it be, and again, all surveys going in this day and age is usually you are shown your frontage on a survey, and what road you're operating is.
So if he did decide to use the track road is not plowed by the town, right?
Yeah, so that's again, that would, you'd have to send a proposal to the town. Not 100% sure on what services are done to the road. I know there's some on one side, I'm not sure about the full extent.
So wouldn't we have to rescind that motion initially? Or that's what we're meaning by?
That's the,
Well, you would just revoke those two permit numbers.
Yeah, okay. So we'll do that next week.
anyone else? Comment or question?
no, I
Okay.
think this is it for now.
Okay.
Yes,
Got another one there, Mad Rock Development, Greg, or,
Yep, I'll break and start and we can do our same process, I guess.
okay, Director Squires?
Yeah, so this one here, we received a development proposal by property owners in Mad Rock. As we're not allowed to list names, right now they're not assigned civic numbers, is why I just said the Mad Rock property owners. So those will be assessed and assigned civic numbers. This one here, they are requesting or proposing a 3-unit detached development intended as vacation home rentals. So there's 2 parcels of land, and the applicant wants to put 2 properties or 2 buildings on one piece, and that would be serviced by a well and 2 septics, which there's in the diagram below. On the survey, it says on lot number 2, there's 2 septics and 1 shared well. And then on lot 1 as well, there's a well and septic, just for that one up there. So I think previously we discussed that the last proposal was they wanted to run, put a well across the road
That's right.
and run a service line over.
Yep.
So I think that was one of our probably main issues, which that completely curbs the, having to run it under the road.
Right.
So that doesn't have any legal implication of easements or anything like that. So the two smaller dwellings that will be on lot 2 will be 800 to 900 square feet. And one of the larger dwellings that will be on lot 1, they're proposing 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. So that's pretty much what they're proposing. And as you can see there in the survey, they do have 2 large pieces of land. But there are some, I guess, conditions that you would need to put on the permit itself, as we would need, I guess, a permit now going forward, as we are going through a lab proposal, but everything needs to, I guess, be in line with the building line setbacks and side yards and all that kind of stuff. And of course, your service and approval for your septic and water systems and all that kind of stuff.
So in the recommendation, I think,
Yeah, so
Councillor Badcock, do you want to
yeah, I
just
can read that out again.
clarify it for us?
It is recommended that council grant the approval in principle for the proposed 3-unit detached development at Water Street East, subject to these following conditions. That the developer submit a plot plan with all setbacks, including the building line setback, side yard setback, and the rear yard setback. That the development receive all required approvals from Service NL. That of course would be your septic and your water, all the approvals. The development comply with all applicable Town of Bay Roberts development regulation municipal requirements. That all the required approvals be obtained from applicable provincial and regulatory agencies. And that the property shall not be eligible for municipal service, specifically snow clearing or garbage collection. And finally, the 2 vacation rental accommodations must remain together if they are ever to be sold or change in ownership in the future to meet lot standards.
Thank you, Councillor Badcock. I'll open it up for discussion.
Yeah, so, you know, one of the concerns you said was the well. So now the well is not coming across the road. So the only other thing that, I can't remember if I asked this when we first looked at this, with the 2 development property, I guess the eastern one. In normal circumstances, would we allow, is it allowed to have 2 residents on one single plot?
So if they're going to be 2 residences, I'm gonna say no,
Mm-hmm.
because that's, I guess, not allowed in our regulations.
Yeah.
But again, we don't, a lot of towns do, and we don't have a clause at all for vacation homes. So like you see places everywhere that got 5 cottages on one lot.
And yeah,
So it
yeah,
depends on the use purpose.
yes.
So, again, if they ever did want to split those 2 lots, they would have to meet lot standards as well.
So is this application being done more as a commercial rather than a residential?
Yes, so that, it's more of a commercial,
So it would state that it is
Vacation
for, yeah, so it's not, it wouldn't be done as a regular residential application. If it's done as a commercial application, that would obviously change it and probably solve some of the problems if they tried to, if you know, there was a, tried to be a sale of properties to split it up in the future, is that these properties are together as one, basically one unit, one business kind of thing.
yeah, so that's the, I guess.
The last item there.
The last item in the recommendation, that the 2 vacation rental accommodations must remain together.
And it, but that's
Councillor Franny, you're
well, I guess
thinking
that's what
though,
I'm to say is that
Yeah.
it should state on the permit that
Yeah.
this is not a regular residential application. This is a commercial application for 2 units
Yeah.
on
So
one piece of property.
all those conditions will actually be listed on the permit
Yeah.
itself.
But I think what Councillor Franny is just trying to say, just that next step is just reinforcing what's
Yeah.
already itemized there,
The-
that this is approved, not as a domestic or
Well, that's what I'm saying.
as a
Like
commercial.
that application there should not be the same application as the western property, because the western property is a residential property.
Yep.
It should not be a residential application for the eastern property, because technically
Commercial.
it's not a residential property. Residential property to me is someone lives there. They just live there, that's it. So I think that should be well identified even on the application, checked off that it's that type of,
Vacation rental.
now, the other question is, does that then make it discretionary? Because if it becomes commercial, and some of that's R2,
Yep.
so does that then make it discretionary?
So I guess that's my next comment, is it is a discretionary decision of council when you don't have something in your regulation.
Right.
So, I guess that would have to be posted, and again, cost on development.
I'm just
I'm
looking
sure
at,
there's-
you know,
There's no problem with that.
Yeah. I think the idea here is to cross Ts and dot Is for somewhere down the road.
Right.
And I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that it'd actually do really well. I just don't want it to cause issues down the road.
In the future.
I may not be here if that when
Future
that time
council.
comes, but I don't want to
Yeah.
leave someone else with problems or even us. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure all bases are covered. That this property is not a house that I can go and buy and live into, because that's not what those two properties on the eastern edge are.
Well, that's a good point, in the
Or even
event,
rent.
sorry, in the event that
Councillor-
someone, in the event that someone
Yeah.
wants to change it in the future.
Okay. Councillor Laurie?
Regardless, before they get going, they gotta pass the square footage through Service NL, they got room enough for a well and septic.
Yes.
If they haven't got room enough for that, they don't go anywhere.
It might be a moot point if they don't approve it.
Yeah.
Which she's spoken to Service NL, and I guess they've kind of confirmed that there is potential to be room there. But again, she has to have like soil testing and all that kind of stuff done in order. That's why we did the approval in principle. And she also has to apply for the application.
Right.
So, and again, I guess to clarify Councilor Crane's point, is the lot number 2 that has the 2 dwellings, that's also gonna be only listed as one piece of land. So, there will one property in our assessment roll.
Yeah.
So that'll be, like for taxation purposes, they'll be taxed together. So they won't be taxed separate, so if they ever did sell, like it's in our system as
Yeah.
one.
But
Instead of two,
and that's
so
what I'm
if
asking.
there's
This is
ever any
one
questions-
property with
Right.
two structures on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as long as we got our base covered, more power to them. I hope it does well.
Right. I think the itemization of stayed in places like this, as we've said earlier, right? Like, I could almost touch the next little place that was built on the same property.
Yeah.
So would they be able to turn those into, excuse me, rentals, if, year-round rentals, if,
So
and
I
if
guess-
vacation rentals never worked?
The vacation home, if, a lot of people, like I know some cabins around, they do offer monthly rates, weekly
Long-
rates,
Long-term rentals.
long-term, like, I guess it really depends on.
I guess the issue with that is that we don't provide services down there. No snow clearing or anything like that.
Right.
And just to add to that, Dean, what you're saying, shouldn't we also say, water and sewer? If something backfired, once they got that up and running, we didn't specify that we wouldn't give them water and sewer? That's not there, shouldn't we put that in there too?
We can, and I guess.
Just to cover everything.
Just my reason for not was because they proposed the septic and well, so I didn't
And
include it.
another note that should be put on there, because snow clearing is not done, that means that in the winter, we cannot guarantee fire protection. If the fire trucks can't get down there because the roads aren't plowed, summer is fine, you can get down there. Once the winter comes, if that's not a maintained road, then you just can't guarantee it. That's basically it, right?
How far do we plow down now? Do we plow down to the one that's there now, the cabin, or the?
There's 2
Well,
homes there on the left.
The director of public works would be the one.
Here, she is a race full.
How far,
There's a turnaround. There's a little turnaround down there just past the asphalt. They'll go down there and turn.
On the
around.
right,
Oh,
right? That
On the
turnaround?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is just beyond that, is it?
Yes, there's,
I'm pretty sure from the drawings it is. So we turn around just before the existing home that's down there, that building that's down there.
Okay.
I call it the fancy house.
Yeah.
We turn around just there,
What's that?
as the deputy mayor said.
Yeah. So we do note about this,
City side of it.
but it wouldn't hurt to make note because of that snow clearing issue. There wouldn't be fire protection services guaranteed.
Well, it wouldn't be guaranteed because, or you might have to wait for the truck, the plow to come.
Yeah,
They had the loader to go down and plow you to get down there. It could well be It's just, you know, the stuff that has to be taken into account when,
100%.
you know.
Well, if not, they're automatically going to assume that they got covered.
Fire protection is
Yeah.
a municipal service, the same as snow clearing and garbage collection. If we can't do some of it, we can't do all of it, really.
Yeah.
Because you need the road for all of them.
Need to add that for sure.
So I guess, Director Squires will, for the public meeting, we'll put that recommendation through with the changes as noted. And maybe what we can do is, probably when you get it done, send it out to council this week, so we gotta make sure we got everything covered. for the Public meeting.
Okay, I think we've probably gone all around that one.
Yeah, for us.
The next item in protective services, we're gonna defer that to our next meeting, okay? Our next item is underneath Public Works. We have Councillor Boring and Director Elms. I don't know which one of you want to take the lead and chime in. Okay, Director Elms, if you want to take the lead, and Councillor Boring, when you feel you need to add some part in.
We'll do the same, and Councillor Boring can jump in and at any point. The first one there is just an update, council, on the two tenders that we put out for purchases of vehicles. The first one being tender 2026-002 was placed, and that's for the purchase of a new 2500 Series HD crew cab pickup truck. It closed on Thursday, March 19th at 2 p.m. And after the closing, there were two bids, and the lowest bid was $86,492.65, HST included. And that's in the budget amount that we had, which was $100,000. Tender 2026-001 was placed, and that was for the purchase of a new single axle dump truck with front end plow and sand salt spreader. That also closed on Thursday, March 26th at 2 p.m. After the closing, there was only one bid, and it came in at a cost of $380,000, $263.60 HST included. This cost was well over the budget amount of $250. As the CEO noted in one of your meetings on March 28th, we need to review the financial position of the town before making a final decision. So we just want to let you guys know that the two tenders closed.
I'd just like to add, and the reason, of course, it's over budget considerably. And, you know, I certainly think that it's a priority that we get a dump truck. But just doing our good financial diligence, we know that there's going to be potential overreach on Phase 2 Water Street. Our fire truck is coming ahead of time as expected. And I guess we'll review next week during our quarterly report where we're to with salt and stuff from the winter. So we're just taking an extra week to do our due diligence to make sure financially can we take on that extra burden.
Right, gather as much information. Councillor Boring.
Just to add to that, myself and the CAO have discussed it, and I've spoke to Sean. Yeah, it's over, but the loader that we've leased for the last 2 years is costing what each year? Can you hear me, Sean?
Yeah.
It's about 27
What's that?
30 to 35 each year.
The rental.
Okay, so let's even it out, let's say 60 or 65. That's money that we're not throwing away, but we got nothing to show for it at the end of the day. We won't have to do that anymore if we got another truck to add to the fleet with the plow. So if you look at that for 2 or 3 years, you're saving, you almost got your money back in no time.
100%.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
So,
The only
and
thing,
it's the right truck because, again, listen to the boys talking. You know, with the side spreader, there's places now, which to me is primitive. Hills, trying to get the main roads open in the morning, they gotta back up the hill with the trucks we got now. Because the slippery, and she's not putting the sand in front of the tires, and they gotta back up the hill. There's places they gotta put the dump up, so they gotta watch wires. You won't have to do none of that with this.
So this will take the place of the loader? We don't need a loader anymore?
She'll have a plow.
Okay.
yeah, this price
The dump
is
truck will have a plow.
with the salter and the plow. And again, we're 100% supportive, and I think that's probably, now that our fire services are looked after, I think that this truck is probably the most pressing need in this town right now. And we just wanted to make sure that we covered off the financial piece
gather some more financial information to try to make this work.
So how many dump trucks do we have now?
So,
2.
So we'll have 3.
the one
Did
there,
you-
what's the oldest one, Sean?
Yeah, what's the age?
Oh, the oldest one, they're 2020, I think it's 2014 and 2016 maybe? Yeah. Or 2, I think we bought them pretty close together way back when, but like I said, the newest one is getting close to 10 years old, so.
Yeah.
You know, as the CAO talked about, having a proper plan in place, you know, to purchase vehicles is something that we need to look at as well. 'Cause as soon as we buy this dump truck, you know, the other 2 are getting up there in age as well, and you don't want to be wasting money in constant maintenance.
Yeah.
So, and the only reason I'm asking, like, we're not getting rid of a dump truck by getting this one.
I would advise not to right yet, like I said, the 2 trucks are working good, so.
Yeah, well, no, because when Councillor Barney said like about the loader, like it wouldn't make much sense if we're not further ahead if we're getting rid of a dump truck.
Correct.
We're
Right.
still
No,
and we'd be able to do it
I know.
without. We'd be able to if we got this dump truck and the other 2 dump trucks work. We got what 2 loaders right now,
3, isn't it?
3, we got 3 right now.
but that's with the rental.
No?
No, so
No.
when
Oh.
we fired up the cat, we got the cat back up and going, so the rental was our 4th loader.
Okay, so
That's why it makes a big difference with 4 loaders.
I guess part of our consideration would be, as Councillor Boring pointed out, is that we're paying about 30 or 35 a year renting one as well, as we consider the extra 100,000 into the purchase price that we'd allocated. So that's part of the thought process too. And I guess the next thing would be the discussion about the age of the fleet we have. If we put it off too long, we could be looking at having to buy 2 in very quick succession.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you see what winter we had. Hopefully
Yeah.
we don't get another one like it, but
Yes.
we got no control over that.
I'm confident that I think it'll work itself out. And, you know, the other thing is, you know, it's kind of time sensitive now to get it figured out because it's 250 days plus once you order it. So in actual fact, it might actually fall into our 2027 budget. So that's the
Okay,
type of
that'd
stuff.
be good.
That's the type of stuff we've been kind of working on behind the scenes. But we just wanted to give you an update, and I know Councillor Baring is certainly very interested in this one and advocating for it, as well as all council.
Well, and that comes from listening to the boys there for so many years that the stuff been ordered that nobody consulted with them and they're the ones operating it.
I agree.
100%.
And, you know, I'm not going to do Dean's job, I'm not going to do Frank's job because I know nothing about it.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
Anyone else comment or we move on? Okay, Director Elms, our next item.
Okay, next one was the ditch on Sheriffstown Road there. And this is just to update council on some correspondence that was received. And I just wanted to let you know, I completed, the attached correspondence is there for you guys to review, but I completed a site visit and we did look at that ditch a couple of years ago. But the water, that was an access point for water draining off Eric's Place. When we had a good rainfall, the majority of the water coming down Eric's Place was flowing into that side of the ditch. There is a ditch on the other end of Eric's Place as well. But in order to make sure all the water got over there, you'd have to sort of repave all the Eric's Place anyway, which would defeat the purpose and cost savings of putting the culvert in. And if we did put, even though it's only a small gap, probably 8 feet, if we were to cover it in and have no flow, we'd sort of fall into the same situation as George Mercer Drive over there. I don't know if you guys have driven over there lately. There's a lot of ponding on the road next to the development because there's not proper access to catch basins and drainage. So I would just advise the council that we inform the resident that the ditch cannot be culverted at this time. You know, when we go through, hopefully with some water and sewer and storm sewer, we'll be able to take that up there.
Anyone, comment, question?
well, just to, I don't know what kind of water is running there, but just to throw it in together, that ditch that we got buddied open up in Sherristown there, just this side, I won't say the property, but just this side of the overpass, that last rainstorm we had with the melt, the runoff and everything else, Sean went and done some videos, if we hadn't have done that or made him do that, that house, you probably would have lost more houses in flooding. The water that was going through there. I don't know if you circulated that video to everyone, did you, Sean?
No, I did not. I can.
It'd be worth your while. The amount of water that was coming in through there would blow your mind.
But the open ditch worked and,
Yep, all the water was held up on the back, and like I said, it was always overflowing. And if you had had the amount of water that he got on video,
right,
them houses that were flooded, I don't know, what was it, 4 years ago, roughly?
Yeah.
No, they probably would have washed off the footing.
right.
Was the amount of water was coming through, unbelievable.
I know it's off topic because I've noticed the ponding as well on George Mercer.
Yeah, because the ditch was covered in.
Yeah, and this.
Tell them I'm saying.
don't wanna be-
Okay. Anyone else comment or will we move on?
We gotta get that water away.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we can't,
it's killing the road
we
too.
can't
Yes.
be making, we can't be making it harder for water to get where it
To
needs
get where it needs
to
to
go.
go.
No, exactly.
Okay, Director Elms, next item?
Next one is just another FYI for you guys. So the Eastern Regional Service Board is doing a one-year pilot project where they're allowing double axle trailers to access the waste recovery facilities. So I know talking to residents, this has been a big thing, because a lot of people have double axle trailers, but they've always been classified as commercial and they weren't given access. So they got it's a one-year pilot project, and so people still gotta go and make sure they get their permits and stuff, or their access card. But I think that should help a lot of people. So it's just another FYI for you guys.
That's the place in Carbonear you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's right down there. Right?
Just so everybody knows.
Would this be something for us to promote here through our town, that change has occurred? When is that occurring or when does that take effect?
I think it started.
May 1st.
May 1st, yeah.
We've had it all over social media.
Okay,
And I fell under that, one of those that got a double axle trailer. It was on a utility trailer.
right.
And I loaded it up and went down there, they wouldn't let me in. Because I had two axles.
Gentleman told me he went down there with a double axle trailer. They wouldn't let him in. So he got his friend to come down with a single axle trailer, transferred it all into the single axle right there, and then went in with the single axle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also told by a fellow who was down there with a double axle trailer, and they denied him. But they said, if you go outside and take 2 tires off, you can come on back.
Yeah. I know fella done it in front of him.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully the pilot will go well.
Yeah.
And I can see what they're talking about, because, you know, you got commercial
More
fellows doing
commercial do
construction,
use,
that
yes.
easy way to get clear instead of going robbing the bank. There's a procedure they gotta go through now, but.
Okay, Director Elms, you want to move on to the wastewater workshop?
Yeah, so this was just to give you guys an update about the workshop that was held in Gander from March 24th to 26th. Myself and two the water sewer operators went out, and like I said, it's always a great conference. You learn lots of different stuff, lots of hand-on showing presentations. And so this year was no difference. I've got written there some of the keynote. You know, it was a great keynote this year because they talked about emergency management and the fires and how everybody is involved, and even they came very close to having to use water supplies to help suppress some fires. But like I said, great evidence. I got a couple of purchases or some great ideas with some sewer, some new products with fiber optics for sewer floats that are supposed to last for 50 million tries and stuff. So some great stuff coming out of that, and hopefully you guys will see some of it in the future.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Do you want to move on, Director Elms, to the next item, Russell's Lane?
Yeah, so the next one, this is correspondence that we just received last week, and I just wanted to update you guys to table the correspondence for your review and send it to the appropriate staff for action,
Okay.
which would probably be myself and maybe Gregory, or Director.
Okay, thank you, we'll do that. And I think there's one more there, is it?
Yeah, the last one we got is change order number 8. This is for the contract of the Shearstown Road Phase 1 project, and it is looking for council's approval for change order number 8, and it is regarding the additional cost for property reinstatement along Shearstown Road, which would include additional topsoil, additional sod, additional stone, subgrade, Class A, asphalt, and it's for various properties along Shearstown Road. The total change order is $83,682.27 plus HST. Excuse me, for a total of $96,234.61. So I've reviewed it, of course, and it looks good. The new approved contract value for Black Diamond would be $2,559,494.59, HST included.
Okay. Anybody have a comment or question?
This was a discussion we had, I guess, a month or two, or back to December, where we knew we were going to get overages on that project, and we eventually applied for funding to complete, and I think it'll be on the public meeting, one more minor expense, and what we anticipated we'd be over. While it's over substantially, it was less than what we envisioned, so we saved a few dollars, but just for the, I guess, the general public, this was money that we already anticipated and have the funding for to complete.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So this was, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I see your hand first.
Just to add to this too, that some of the, I'll pick on the sod, some of the sods were laid late.
Yep.
So there's total
Warranty, 100%.
insurance and everything on that, yeah, warranty, I guess the better word, that if it don't come to light, that they're responsible to fix it.
100%.
That's all in writing, yeah.
Okay. It's a very good point. You notice it as the snow is starting to recede. Okay.
But what I was going to ask, was this for just that one part of the project, Sean?
This is for a couple of them, actually.
Okay, so it's not just one.
No, it's 2 or 3 or 4, yeah.
Okay, no, I was just looking at the hours, 136. Like, that's almost 4 weeks to do
Yeah.
what I thought
Yeah.
was one driveway.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah. So it's several properties.
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
along, and most of them are on the, I'd say, the land side. There was one
Yeah.
property on the ocean side that had a little bit of work, but most of them are on the land side that had steep slopes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Director Elms. Councillor concern and other items. Councillor Boring?
Yep, I'd put on just to have a discussion, I guess, for our benefit and for the people, I don't know how many people is watching, but for us to put something out there. I've had a call from one lady who was very upset because she almost got clipped there. And it's great that the intersection is lined up compared to what it used to be, but I guess people is just not getting the concept that it's a two-way stop. So I don't know if we could advertise that or put up an extra sign that you always put before the signs, two-way stop. But that's what's going on, because before, when it wasn't lined up, you kind of didn't wait for each other to make the first move. Now you got no other choice because you're looking at each other. And it's almost like it's brand new that people, and not everybody, but some people don't know, do I go or do he or she go?
Yeah, and you're not talking about the Conception Bay High, you're talking about the Shearstown
That's
Crossroad
why
intersection.
it's a four-way intersection, but it's a two-way stop.
Right.
So, you know, if you put, I don't know if it would even help, but you could say that we tried, a two-way stop. Because it would put people in their minds, okay, well, whoever's there first.
Yeah.
Because if not, there is someone gonna be clipped.
Yeah, I know the first time I went through the intersection, not the Conception Bay Highway, I'm there opposite somebody there, coming out through Shearstown, I'm coming out through Crossroad, want to make my left, they want to make their left, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, you're going through the things that you know through your, experience or your education, okay, I'm here first, I'm making the left, but you're trying to make that eye contact, so it is an education process to
Yep.
people.
And I know it's still early in the year, but I think we need to make sure to get on Transportation and Works to get the lines done there as soon as possible, because there are 2 left-hand turning lanes there as well. So they need to be marked out as soon as possible, kind of thing, right? Like, I think we should advocate with Transportation and Works. Our stretch of CB Highway, right from one end to the one border to the other, is extremely busy. So to try and get, I know they've been pretty good the last couple of years, but now there's a lot of markings at the bottom of Shearstown Hill, Ascension Hill, say at the end of Shearstown, that was never done before. So they got to be done as quick as
And
possible.
people have got to realise they got the toll right away.
CB Highway is the right away. That's a thoroughfare.
Yeah, so,
And when you try to turn left on either one of those, it seems like you're going in oncoming traffic, trying to get in there.
That's why the
Yeah,
lines,
yeah,
the
yeah.
lines need to go there as soon as possible.
So it's sort of reaching out to provincial for the painting lines, which they have been good at in the last several years. I don't know what the signage is as I reflect on it, coming out through Crossroad, approaching the intersection, or coming in Shearstown out to the intersection.
There's none until you just
There's
get
none,
to
is
the
there?
there's a stop sign. Because there was always just a stop sign there before.
Director Squires, I don't know if there's something you can take a look at to bring back to us in terms of some suggested signage that could help clarify it.
Yeah.
I guess the other part of it is again, through our own communications, trying to, did you know type idea, or,
and again, putting the, simple 2 signs there, the 2-way stop. At least we're doing our part.
I think that's a good idea too.
We're kind of on the same page with Perry as well, that
We do diligence
that'll
for us.
show something,
The same as,
Yeah.
same as on any 3 or 4-way stop, is just on the bottom of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something else that we're onto this, to stop. We got to get on this right away, because we've had a list here and we haven't followed up with any new ones to get her going on other stops around intersections around the town that we were going to do.
yeah, I noticed, and I think it was
We gotta
referenced
move on
by
with-
somebody here, like, we've had some new type intersection that somebody here referenced. I'm thinking last fall, that they're no longer new intersections, but I guess it's a review of our signage, because part of that was the ATV routes as well.
Yeah, but we got a list. There's a list done of, not priorities, but, almost in order what we were gonna do.
Right.
And we've added a couple, like, the one that came up lately was the one at Crossroads and Central Street, because of the busy intersection there, the post office, whatever. So, but I think we should get on that, early, get the list out now and
We gotta revisit that.
Discuss.
Yeah.
Director
that's it
Squires
for
would be
me.
good to take some lead and come back to us with some
Maybe put that
information.
I got
Yeah.
some,
There's
You've got some as
on-
well.
Put it as
yeah,
an
I
agenda.
got some correspondence here from council and from residents that have been received. So we can I'll go over that with, give it to Dave and Greg to review and whatever.
And I know, because I brought it up a few times, the CAO sent me something about, I guess, with speed bumps and humps and stuff like that.
Right.
I guess, well, what you sent me was
I still
the
have that.
disposable ones, but I guess the big thing with the disposable ones is, the labour involved every year putting them in. Plus we're putting holes in the pavement is the other problem.
That was.
And next year you go closer, you gotta put new holes.
Yeah, and then you're making more water, so,
I
it's
think
t-
once the water breaks in the next week or two, hopefully, I know Director Elms and Greg are gonna be involved in the paving list
Yeah.
and the 3-way stop list
So-
and the speed bump list, so we'll probably have to have a
Did I
separate
send you
meeting
that, Christine?
I have a list
to
here
present that, and you can
that you guys have
prioritize.
sent before, so,
Okay,
yeah, I do have some here as well. I'll give that to Dave to
Yep.
review over.
Okay then.
Yeah.
I guess, look for, anybody else with a comment on the signage or the roads, no? I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
So moved by Councillor Deering and seconded by Councillor Petton. All in favor?
Yes, sir.